Hello and welcome to the Studio Faro video where I will demonstrate the drafting of the basic skirt block following the instructions that you get with our PDF download from the website. In drafting a skirt block we need a couple of basic body measurements. We need our waist measurement, our hip measurement, our hip level, which is our waist to hip length, and our knee level. Which is the measurement from our waistline to our knee level. And so for hip level I have 20 and for knee level I have 60. To these horizontal measurements, okay, the one that goes around our waist and around our hip, we add what we call garment ease, and this allows our skirt, our woven skirt in particular, to be comfortable. It's a standard amount of ease. We can alter it when we make different styles. And so when I add 4 centimetres garment ease to my waist, I end up with an 84 centimetre waist. And with my hip, 102, I add 4 centimetres, I get 106. These are the measurements that we'll use to do our drafting. And the first thing we're going to do is build a rectangle. And so the rectangle will be along one side, our waist to knee level, and along the other, it will be half our hip measurement. So working off a straight line, that will become our centre front. We're looking to put a length on here of 60 centimetres, and that will represent our waist to knee level. At these points we need to start the line as a right angle so that we can make our basic rectangle that will be our skirt draft. So that will be our knee level. This will be our waist level. Below our waist level we will have a hip level, and that is our 20 centimetres. That is the measurement from our waistline to our hip line. I need to extend these lines across the paper. And the size of the rectangle, and that is this width here, is based on our hip measurement of 106. And as we draft this, we draft half a front and half a back. And so we will only be using half our hip measurement of 53 to measure across the piece of paper to make up our rectangle. And so this rectangle at the moment represents the length of our basic skirt draft, which is waist to knee level, and half our hip measurement. And so to divide this into our front and back skirt, we need a line halfway across the rectangle. Now this is 53, and so we need 26.5 to get to the middle. Draw that line through the middle of your draft, and that is your side seam. Now to begin to make the shaping up here in the skirt draft, we need to extend this top line by 1.5 centimetres, Using the side seam as a right angle, we will extend 3 centimetres either side of that side seam, and this gives us a position for the side seam shaping for what is a very standard amount of side seam shaping. 3 centimetres is a good maximum. Any more than that and you might distort the skirt. In some cases you'll use less if you've got the straighter figure type. Using the same part of the curve to draw both of those hip curves, front and back. And then join that lengthened side seam back, join that extended side seam back to the centre back, and then from the extended side seam to the centre front. So these slanted lines are our new waistline. The position of our darts are different in the front and the back. So positioning for the front dart, it's a much smaller dart. It allows shaping for that upper hip area, and it's generally positioned 2/3 of the way from the centre front to the side seam. So if I take this measurement, and it's 23 centimetres, I need 1/3 of that. And I have 7.6. So if I measure in 7.6 from the side seam and draw a line at a right angle for a maximum of 8 centimetres long. That is a standard measurement for a front dart. Coming across to the back, the dart is in quite a different position. The shaping in the back is for the back side, a much bigger, softer shape. And so we'll be placing the dart dead centre between the side seam and the centre back. At that centre position, at a right angle to the new waist, draw a line towards the hip. Deciding how long this dart is important to how it sits on the seat. It can't be too close to the hip line. As a general rule, I would have it at least 6 centimetres away from the hip line to get a good shape. So this is the length and this is the position. To calculate how big these darts are, I will take my waist measurement of 84, and I know each of these, the front and the back waist, each measure 23, and so that is altogether 46 centimetres on half the skirt, which is the draft. Half of my waist is 42. The difference is 4. And so I have 4 centimetres to turn into darting, and it's a very easy amount to deal with. What I will probably do is put just 1 centimetre on the front and 3 centimetres on the back. Again, as a general rule, this part of our body at the front is generally quite flat, and it never really needs a lot of darting. As a maximum would be 2 centimetres. In this case, I don't have a lot of darting to get rid of, so I think 1 on the front would be fine, and I would much rather have 3 on the back to create shape for the seat. So just 1 centimetre on the front, and that is a total of 1 centimetre, 5 mil each side. And 3 centimetres on the back. That'll be 1.5 each side. And so the last thing to complete this draft is the shape at the top of the darts. This straight line will not give us a good shape on our waistline. And so what we need to do is fold the darts, draw in a nice curve for the waist to get the shape at the top of that dart. When we're folding darts, we will work with the the side of the dart, or the dart arm that's closest to the centre front, and make that our first fold. And then, because this paper, when we try to make these three-dimensional shapes, it can get quite awkward to handle. If you fold the paper just along the end of the dart, it allows you to handle this a lot easier. And then when we bring this together, you'll see on this new waistline we've got a little bit of a point. We'll smooth this out with our curve, and then use this rather sort of sharp tracing wheel to mark that shape through to all the layers. And it's a small dart, so we have this small lift right in the centre. The change will be more noticeable on the back. So applying that same rule on the back, I'm going to fold the side of the dart that's closest to the centre back first. Fold the paper just on the end of the dart so it's easier to manage. And again, you can see that little V shape we have on the waist. So we need to clean this up using the curve. And then marking that shape through all the layers of the dart. And then what you see is this slightly raised outside shape. So this is the draft completed. Centre front, side seam, centre back, back dart, side seam shaping, front dart. So now they will use this draft like a blueprint, and I'll put a fresh piece of paper on top and lift two separate toile patterns to do our test fitting. And so there'll be a front skirt pattern and a separate back skirt pattern. For the making of the toile, I will probably put a zip in the side seam, and I will leave both the centre front and the centre back on the fold.